Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on FM 105.3 in New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. I'm Jenny Nicasio along with my co-hosts Sean Kelly and John Ventry. Good evening, guys.
Good
Let's
evening.
go.
Remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, Twitch, and we're on Rumble. And where else? Twitch, TV, Facebook, Twitter. And it's nice to see you guys. John is in Washington, Sean is in Pittsburgh, and I'm in the outer limits. What's going on?
Just trying to deal with the happy holiday spirit and all that good stuff. It was a rough day today with the customers. They just don't know what they're doing. And I was pleasant, though. I put my great customer service smile on, and I was very, very nice to them. But in the back of my head, and when I went into the meat room, I screamed real loud in the cold, you know.
Oh, well,
But
that's...
Why didn't you do a Rocky and go back in there and start hitting the meat?
Dude, I did it before. I
I know.
I pulled one out on the box. This was a while back. I got so mad at a customer. I'm going to tell a story. Share a holiday story for you. Okay, about, I'd say 6-7 years ago when I was at Giant Eagle, this customer came in, this lady, she came in and she said, she gave me a whole ham, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, can you cut it down the middle for me? I said, sure. So I grabbed the ham off of her, started walking back into the meat room, and then she says, Sean, she knew me. I was wondering if she was pulling my leg, but I said, yes. She said, can you get me a slice out of the middle of this ham? And I said, sure, not a problem. You know, all happy and smiling and everything. Then, as I walked back, she called me again. Honest to God, on my father's grave, quote unquote, she said, does that mean you have to cut it down the middle? No joke. No joke, man. No joke. And I just grabbed the ham, went in, gave it to my coworker, and she took care of it. And I couldn't stop laughing. I was screaming real loud.
Isn't there a bone in the middle or no?
Yeah, there is on the whole ones and in the halves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I thought you were going to say was that she only wanted to buy the one slice and stick you with the rest of the ham.
Oh, that wouldn't have happened. No. But being the great customer service personnel man I am, I would have had to do that. And I'd be like, do you know how fast they turn once you cut them?
Ham?
They turn real quick.
What do you mean they turn? Turn into
a
werewolf?
They turn from a nice gray, not pink meat in the ham. But once you cut them, about an hour or two later, they turn really gray.
Ew, I wouldn't want to eat that.
No.
That would be gross.
What are they good for, about 3-4 days or 5 because it's salty?
Usually the expiration date on the hams, believe it or not, are 90 days.
No, not once you open it up and start cutting them.
No. You got whatever you don't eat, put it in the freezer and save it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Hi, Gary. Sorry you can't watch.
What?
No, I'm reading the comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hi, Anita. How are you?
Well, tonight we are going to talk about something that I've been wanting to watch for a long time because I really do like the creator, David. What's his last name? How do you say Paulides?
I thought you were going. I thought you when you said you liked the creator, you meant God. David Paulides.
Paulides. That's what I thought it was. Missing 411. Was it the canine? What is his? I'm having a hard time seeing tonight. So, Sean, what is it? His Conan project?
It's the UFO.
Can-Am, Canada, America.
Canon, American,
Canada, America.
Missing persons.
Yeah, the
Okay.
name of the show that we watched was UFO.
Well, he has been doing the missing 411 for a couple. Well, oh gosh, how many years now?
A lot.
It's a lot. He was a former policeman, undercover agent. He's been investigating missing people from the national parks all over the United States and in Canada, I believe. And he got a new one going. His new documentary is Missing 411, The Alien Connection. And I've been waiting for this, and I bought it last night when it came out. I pre-ordered it, and I watched it twice so far. I find it to be fascinating, horrifying.
Well, where are you getting the horrifying, Jen?
Because these people are missing. The families don't know where they went.
Mhm.
Some we're going to get to some. We're going to follow the story chapter by chapter. But I want to go ahead and pull up the. I want to pull up the picture, his big poster. And can you see that, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. And I'm not trying to be our former co-host with the sunglasses. I had some surgery today and I have a black eye and I don't look very pretty. So don't think I'm trying to be all cool. Okay. So this is the poster. Actually, it looks like the cover of my my alien book. The UFO here with the lights coming down.
Well, that was the UFO over Bucks County that Denise Mertza, if you remember the shows that I did, it was the triangular with the light in the middle. That's the same one.
And that's what most of the people in the book claim that they saw. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this. So the very beginning, chapter 1, they talk about the what was his name, Sean?
Oh, God.
David Paulides?
No.
No. I you know what? I'm bad with names, Jen.
Okay,
I
but
just
you
know
do-
he was from British Columbia.
Okay, and he was in his. Is this the one where he's in his truck, his pickup truck?
Yeah, with his dogs, and he goes hunting.
Yeah, he's an avid hunter. He was
Yes.
an avid hunter, and his dogs were with him. They found the trailer closed, and the
locked up.
dogs and the dogs were inside the trailer. And what freaks me out, they always go back to the same. They can't find them. The same sequence of events go. They're all in this story, this particular documentary. They're all going back to the same sequence. And I don't know if you remember when he started out. What was he saying? I can't remember. I have to turn off my phone. Somebody keeps beeping me. Okay. If I can even read my own notes, that would be great. Okay, so when they find this one hunter that's missing, it goes back to no scent. The dogs, they're not picking the search party. They don't pick up any of the scents. There's no visible scent. They can't find anything. There's no. It's by the water. He finds exactly by the water. We go right back to the water. And I don't know if you watched all his other missing 411. It always seems to be like the missing
water.
is the water. Okay, so that's what I was really into, because it goes back to but I liked how he started it. I liked the music. I liked the ambiance, the mood he brought in. That's why this is like a review of his I guess you would call his documentary, but the way he presented it gave you that feeling of mystery, and you saw all the big the trees, the evergreens with the mist over the mountains, gave it a really scary airy feeling. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good the way he did. It's better than the other ones. I mean, it's come a long way, I guess I want to say.
I don't know. I think he had personally the one, the hunted was this is my own personal opinion. I think the way he did the hunted was a hell of a lot better than what he did.
You think?
One. Yeah, I know, no doubt. Because
why you feel that way?
Because he put more tension, more like building up to the whole situation, to where the hunted, he just came out and said it with no tension at all, no, you know, to make you like sit on the edge of your chair and
Oh,
read.
okay. Is that how you felt? Well, I thought he was giving this way too. I thought that he presented it to that you're going to find out weird stuff that you normally wouldn't hear about. And a lot of people don't think that these missing hunters who were trained how to survive the wilderness with they're all prepared. They have their beacons, they have their rifles, their ammunition, they have their food, they have their backpack, they have their water. So there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to find their way back to where if they got lost.
Yeah, but if there's no scent, I mean, they've been tracking scent, back to the Native Americans and the settlers, they would track footprints and have dogs for scent. I mean, that's really strange that there's no
that
scent.
is strange. There's no. Why isn't there no scent? What did they do?
It should be. I mean, unless it rained and they got there, it's weeks later and there's been heavy rain. Maybe there's no scent.
In all these cases, there's always water present. Always.
Right, but John says you got a good point. If you listen to the show, both shows, The Hunted and this one, it seems like every time there's a case that comes up with someone being abducted, there's always rain. There's always snow. Always bad weather prevails it.
Well, not on this particular first one. I don't think there was any bad weather. They just couldn't find him. That was Ray Sullivan and his wife.
So that would indicate. So that what does that indicate? That indicates that they were picked up like a UFO, or it was something interdimensional or spiritual type thing that they were taken into another dimension portal.
Well, Ray, the very first one, Ray Sullivan and his wife. Okay, his wife was going to go, but she didn't go. He's around 65 years old. He drove up to the lake. Okay, he was armed. He camped down by. He was right by. His camp was right down by the lake. And other people, the other hunters, they heard shots being fired. Okay, and that was kind of strange. And he shot someone's car.
Yeah, it was a bunch of teenagers.
They shut the headlights. Okay, then they called the ERT, emergency response. They come out and they search it with their dogs. Like I said, the dogs aren't picking up any kind of a scent. No how, no way. They're not picking up scent. Which they found really weird. So his wife, Gail, said they called, I don't know how the search party, but then they brought these they were armed and they had armed. They were armed. They were like the Canadian.
That was the RHMC tactical team.
Yeah. And then why were they there? If it was just a missing person. So
well, look at all the cases that happened in the United States, Jen. Every time something big happens like that, look at The Hunted. When that old man, the postal man, disappeared, they called in the FBI, the CIA, and all kinds of crap. You know what I mean? So
which they shouldn't be involved.
Okay, but who was doing the shooting? Were they?
They claimed he was to get attention.
He was trying to get someone's attention so they would come help him. Is that what you think?
Yes.
It's a possibility. I didn't think of that.
So what did the people in the car think when their headlights were shot out?
Well, the kids, they were scared.
Sure.
They were scared. Who did the shooting? Yeah. And then the second day, they found his clothes. They found his clothes were spotted. And then
is this winter? Is this winter?
It was
in the middle of June.
Yeah, it was in winter. Yeah. And they called back the search when they found the clothes. And then what did they find? They found the clothes folded nicely.
Yeah, and they also found his gun.
Rifle.
Yep.
They found his rifle and his and then but there was no blood. There was no animals nearby, no carcasses, no human anything, no tracks.
No, but what was really amazing, that young dude he was talking to on the shore of the place where it happened, he said they had no birds or animals making noises either.
And then usually if there was a carcass, there would be birds everywhere, but there
Mhm.
wasn't any birds. There was no blood, no animal tracks, no animal carcasses. And they searched. How many days did they searched for? Let's see,
6 days.
Yeah, 6 days, and nothing was found. No,
No.
they did. They found his pistol on the mountaintop.
Yeah, they did. They found the gun, and then up on the mountaintop, halfway, they found his pistol.
Which
But-
goes back to the original, the ones that we watched before the missing. That's usually what happened with the hunters. They found their coffee cup, their clothes, their
everything, yeah.
backpack,
Boots.
But what
boots.
amazes
It's
me?
weird. You take your boots off and keep walking. I mean, that's
No,
tough
no,
on the
that's what
feet.
happened in the first one, John. Did
I
you
know.
watch it?
I know.
So
Well, there is something, that's why I asked if it was winter. I remember reading that when you get frostbite or when you're freezing, your body almost sends a signal like you're overheating. So in the dead of winter, it's not unusual that people take their clothes off because they think they're overheating, but it's your sensation. That does happen if it's very cold,
Right.
occasionally. But this is summer, you're saying, so that's not it.
Yeah, and then we get into chapter 2 where he's talking about there seems to be an elk connection to all these cases.
Yeah, that was freaky.
Elk?
Elk.
Yeah.
These elk that are. This one particular guy said him and his wife thought they saw a UFO, and which was really strange when he went down into where the elk were. He saw this saucer, like was it black? Was it black?
Yeah, it was a black one.
Okay, let's see. I took some notes. Okay, this was over by Mount St. Helen. The elk were abducted. Okay, and there was some was it Hispanic people were working there, and they saw that the elk was taking this object, hovered in front of the elk, and there was no cables, there was nothing, and the elk just lifted up into the sky, and they watched the elk go away. They were terrified. They didn't want to go back to do what they were doing. No,
Would you go back?
that's what I said. It was. Could you imagine that the elk they were lifted up into the air?
I mean, an elk, an adult male elk probably weighs over 1,000 pounds.
Easy, John, easy.
Easy,
Yeah.
maybe 1,500.
And he couldn't understand what was going, but they did notice a red and white stripe on the craft, which was
On
kind
the
of
bottom
strange.
of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is kind of no.
Maybe it was from
the
China.
elk didn't move. He just was like paralyzed. He just went with it.
Right.
It just
But-
goes back to all the abductions that we've read about, that people said they were paralyzed.
But,
And there was-
but why the elk?
I don't know, but they said that the one thing that they all have in common is there was no noise. It was silent. It was silent, and the elk were paralyzed, and there's no cable. It was going slow, like almost like a coin. It was going up in the air like a coin.
With the magnet.
Like a coin. If you spin a coin,
Yeah.
it went up in the air like that, like almost like a helicopter. But there was no helicopters around. There was no sound.
But remember what Joe Jordan said last week with the no sound. It's like if it's interdimensional, it's almost like you're in this bubble that there's no time, and there's no sounds, there's no anything. But that's not while the craft is. That was while the craft is present. But are you saying when they went back the next couple of days, there's still no sound?
No, when this is when
It happened.
when they actually saw it. There was workers, and they saw Hispanic workers, and they saw this happening, and they went back the next day to try to find the elk, and they think that they found a pregnant elk's carcass. So which is
Yeah, I
kind of
remember
strange.
that. But now, you look at the elks, right? Now, this is all happening in Wyoming, folks.
Mhm.
And all I know is that down here, our cows are getting mutilated. Okay. So our far cows are getting mutilated here in the States. How come they're just snatching up elk? You know,
Well,
I
what?
mean, are they
Maybe
making
that's
a
all
new
that was
breed of
available.
animal to put on the earth? What?
Maybe it was all that was available. They needed to get something. But you got to remember too, with a lot of these, when we were dealing with the black helicopters, people felt that those were paramilitary, you know, and it's not the government, but it's an agency and they're paramilitary. Now, I had a totally different theory, is that just think about this. If you're the alien, right? Do you want to show up in that triangular craft like that everybody's going to say, ooh, UFO? Why wouldn't the alien build a helicopter and fly it in and nobody's going to think it's alien? You know what I'm saying? Reverse
Yeah, I know what you mean.
psychology. The aliens make a freaking helicopter, go do their business and leave. And people are going to say that's the military. And it's not, it's them.
Well, I think I got a response for you on that one, John. I just do believe that the aliens just want to say, "Hey, we're here. What are you going to do about it? Why do I
Yeah,
need to
unless they're
sneak
that
in?"
arrogant that there's nothing that we can do anyhow, so why hide it?
True.
Should be.
Anita
True.
Allen said that diversity for study, as in why are we raising cattle and not herding elk? The Sami have reindeer, which are close relatives. True.
Maybe they moved on to elk. You know, I'm kind of surprised they haven't taken bison. You know, I don't know that there's a lot of bison anymore because they were mostly killed over the years. You know, there was a time there was 60 million bison or 100 million bison in America. You know, but that might be the next thing. You start hearing of bison being taken.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they wanted the elk. There's the reason why they wanted the elk, and it goes back.
Maybe the horns. They got huge
Maybe.
horns.
Could
I'm not-
be, or there's something in the elk that they're like, what do you harvesting or something like that. What I
Well-
wanted to do, Jen, honestly, and maybe next week I'll share, is actually, you know, study the elk and kind of figure out why would they want elk.
Well, he gets into something later in the show, how he talked about Robert Fairfax was talking about how, do you remember when we had the mad cow disease? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was all over the place.
Yep.
But they said the reason why they think there's something going on with the elk is because they found out that it's called chronic
Wasting?
something like that.
Chronic wasting disease?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it, bud.
And maybe they're studying the elk to find out, or maybe they're the ones who created the disease. And that is, if you eat it, you'll die if you eat. That's why hunters are supposed to be testing for this new disease. Don't eat the deer or the elk before it's tested, because you can get really super sick. That's why I don't understand why hunters just go out and they do what they do to the deer and then they eat it. I'd be too scared to get. Might get that
look at what
disease.
God put deer and all kinds of animals on earth so we could survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not understanding that these deers, there's this new disease that they have. It's a real disease, John, and it's killing people and it's killing the animals. If you watch the show, if you go back further, and you're gonna see how he talks about this disease that's being transmitted to humans. So maybe this UFO phenomenon, maybe they're the ones who created it, or they're trying to cure it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I can tell you is that the chronic wasting disease is big.
Yeah,
in the deer.
chronic. Yeah, waste is very.
In the deer population, it's a big deal. And Sean, when you say you want to look at elk, the one thing I do know about elk, bison, and deer is that they are very, very low fat. Their meat is like 99.8% fat free. Matter of fact, I buy bison meat because you cook it up. There's not even any fat in the pan. It's so healthy for you compared to ground beef or cow meat. You know, the best you can get is 93, maybe 95% fat free. But, you know, the elk, the deer, and the bison are really, really healthy to eat.
And without the other diseases.
Yeah, but if they're not diseased.
If
But
it's not
I think
disease.
I think the chronic wasting disease, it's like mange or something, I think. I don't know. I think if it has it, you can see it, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. He didn't really get into that. He just was saying that that might be the connection to the chronic wasting disease and how it's
It could be.
transmitting to deer and the elk to humans now across the United States and Canada.
Yeah.
It's very it seems like it's very scary. I mean,
Anna Young says there could possibly be brain mites,
it's true.
you know, so it's like, who knows what it is. Now, is he trying to say in this documentary he wrote that, is he saying that did the aliens make this disease?
That's what I don't know if I'm gonna have to. I follow him on YouTube. I'm gonna have to drop it in the comments because I was trying to figure out why was he mentioning that so much, and why do these UFOs picking up elk? Because all these cases in this documentary are all relating to the elk. So just keep in mind. And then there's a guy named Robert. I'm not sure his last name. He saw a UFO. He was out camping too, hunting, and he dropped to his knees while he saw a huge, like a football field, triangular shaped, like you were talking, John, shaped craft with no seams, was apparent in the sky. It was so close that he can also hear no exhaust, no noise, no engine, just hovering above the sky across the United States, how did he say it? Just across the horizon, you could see it. And he fell to his knees, and the craft was silent. It didn't make any noise. And go ahead.
Now that's similar to Phoenix Lights, a very similar description. Yep. Silent. I think the Hudson Valley ones were silent also.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at our military aircraft, so that from just hearing that, it just proves to me that our military are actually getting all this stuff from the aliens because we have aircraft that you cannot hear. You can't.
I've never seen a craft that you cannot hear. Everything I saw has.
Go down to an Air Force base.
You see crafts that you can't hear at the Air Force base?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
John, what is your
view on that? Stealth bombers. They
don't have no sound at all.
They go quiet. And they can actually cloak themselves too.
Like shapeshift.
Well, that's next generation technology that, we say is probably out there, but not revealed to the public yet,
No, I just did. Oh, hell. I'm going to have the CIA knocking on my door.
I remember, do you remember years ago, I went to a Pirates game and they brought in a B-2 stealth bomber that flew over the river. That thing had like a sonic boom. You could hear the thing, They flew it over the stadium down the river and took off. It was really cool.
Yeah, made some noises, huh?
Yeah.
So far that what we've been discussing, Jen and John, what is part of your conclusion? What are you coming up with so far?
Well, let's hear more of this. We're only in chapter 2 or whatever.
Yeah, we're on chapter 2. So then we have Ray Jones. He's a hunter. The same thing about the elk. He's been going to the same location for 53 years. And he suddenly disappears. And that's when he saw the triangular shape vehicle. I call it a vehicle. Let me see. I'm making sure I got the right one here. Yeah, he saw the same thing with the craft, same triangle shaped. No sound.
Did any of these guys say that those people were members of the Elks Club?
Oh, no. God.
No. That would have been funny, though.
Maybe that's the connection. They're all Elks Club members who didn't pay their dues. They didn't pay their dues.
But here's another connection to it. Maybe they're really mad at these elk hunters and they're snatching them up because they're killing off the elk.
And putting them somewhere else?
Maybe.
Possibility.
I don't believe that these extraterrestrials are benevolent, though. So you know, I know if it's happening on the West Coast, they believe it's benevolent, but I don't believe that they would do that to save elk.
I don't know. I don't think they would do it to save the elk either. That's what I
Well,
think
why not?
maybe they're the ones who did it.
Why not?
Because I don't think all the UFO books I've read, I mean, going back to novels to movies, they want Earth for themselves. They don't care about. I don't think they care about human beings one iota.
No, they've
Then
never
why haven't they made that move yet to take us over?
Well, you know, according to some of them, it's a slow hybrid program to get enough of their own people infiltrated into society, and they'll
Or
do
they
it.
could be making super soldiers, people
They
getting
do
the
it
best,
silently and then just take over. I
or
mean,
getting
what do
the
you?
best DNA that they can.
If you could take over corporations and the government, what are people going to do? I mean, you see how quickly everything is changing in this country, right? It's like, how do we know that they're not behind that and they're taking it over and they're making all these changes to our way of life that we've been used to, you know? And they don't have to start a war to do that. They just take over.
And then
Anita Allen,
go ahead. I'm
Anita
sorry.
Allen is saying, I don't see why there cannot be multiple aliens interacting with us right now.
They
Could
probably are.
All
They're probably-
indications are multiple types.
They probably are doing that. They most certainly are. But they went back, and the investigators who went back, David went back to talk to the investigators to see if there was any new developments in any of these cases so far, and nothing.
Jen, who did he say does these investigations? Is it the park
well,
police?
It's an FBI. John. His name was John Sounga from the FBI. He believes that they are dealing with some kind of interdimensional.
Not
being.
John D'Souza. Is it John D'Souza?
Yeah, D'Souza. Yeah, from the
He's
FBI.
well, I mean, he's a UFO guy that you can have bring in and talk to at the conference. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about bringing him in. But you know, my question was, you know, is it the park police? Because, you know, locally
No, the
here,
park police usually stay out of it because they just like they stay out of it.
Because I wouldn't think that they're very qualified to do the
No.
investigation if that's who does it, you know?
The one ranger from Canada said that, so a woman said that this stuff was presented, if it's listed as a UFO sighting, it goes directly to the special, special team of investigators. But the government, and then they said the one MUFON investigator director, he said,
Ruben Urate?
Yeah, he said that the government will not recognize something that they can't control.
Yeah,
right.
So, and it goes back to the one director said that he believes it's a parallel dimension that falls in line with 15 cases that David has researched as being unknown or missing, and they don't know what happened to them.
That's one of the reasons I don't go in the woods.
I'm not going in the woods anymore.
When my friends wanted to do that bachelor's party and look for Bigfoot up in the mountains there, I said, I'll go up there, but I'm leaving when the sun goes down. I'll be back in the morning for breakfast. I am not hanging out in the woods at night because of the spiritual factor and the bears and Bigfoot, UFOs. I am not going out in the woods.
I'm right there with you, John.
Not going to do it.
Hey, John, let me ask you a question. So most of these abductions happened in Wyoming. Is there a lot of underground bases in Wyoming? Because a lot of people see a lot of aliens UFOs out there. I looked that up.
I'm sure there's a military base somewhere out there, Minot or one of those. But, a lot of that underground base stuff seems to be, they're talking about New Mexico and Nevada. I can't say, you don't hear a lot about Wyoming, North Dakota, Nebraska, other than the military bases like Malmstrom and others where they come in and open up the bay doors or start up the rockets or shut them down, even though they don't have shut-off switches.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know if Wyoming. I know the only thing I know about Wyoming is the Grand Tetons and Jackson Hole. Supposed to be beautiful.
All
Well-
I know is that because that threw me for a looper too.
Yeah.
Because of all the stuff that I have studied and all our guests that we have come on, not once did anybody ever mention Wyoming.
Yeah, you don't hear much about Wyoming. Now, I know David moved to Montana
Yes.
a year ago, whatever it might be. He lives in Montana now. He left Colorado Springs for Montana. I had dinner with him and his girlfriend and stuff in Colorado Springs
Yeah.
about 5 years ago. He's a good guy. I like him. He's police. When you're around a former cop, is the way they carry themselves. But he's a good guy.
Yeah, he was. I like him.
I like him too. I really do. I mean, I think.
But here's the one thing, Jen. Like you said, you're going to contact him. What about this? What about that? He never gives you an answer.
No.
It's like I'm surprised now that he's come out and named this the UFO connection, because in all his others, he kind of implied maybe it's Bigfoot, but he never would say Bigfoot. I've had him at 3 of our conferences, and
Well,
he would not
has
tell you.
Well, he has a course. I think there's 9 videos called Bigfoot 101, and
Yeah.
I'm on 3. Each a course, like a YouTube course you
Yeah.
can go watch. Not like it's really interesting about what he thinks it's Bigfoot is. But moving on here, so I just want to talk about a little bit about this one. It was on chapter 4. It's Carl Higdon. In 1974, he and his wife, this is weird. His wife went with him always with him, but this time she didn't go. October 25th, 1975, he went out by himself. Okay. And which is kind of weird. He went into the Madison Bow National Forest. Okay. And this was really interesting. It's kind of scary. He said, okay, so he goes a quarter mile into I guess where I don't know what do you call that, back in the forest, I guess. And he saw 5 elk, okay, that didn't move. They were just standing. They didn't move. This is going back to the elk again. And he levels his rifle and he pulls the trigger. And it was like when he pulled the trigger, it was like the bullet hit something like an invisible force field.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was cool. Yeah.
That was creepy. So, and
Well, they had to be in that bubble of that interdimensional bubble where everything's quiet, and you probably couldn't shoot into it because it's outside of time and space.
And he shot the rifle again, and then he turned to see a craft.
Okay.
Okay. This is what really freaked him out. So he sees the craft, and it was like there was like a clear cube, like a glass cube that you could see in and out of. You can see behind it, which is kind of creepy. I don't know what it was. He didn't know what it was. And he saw that, and he could see the forest behind because it was open, like it was see-through. You could see the forest, but it was a clear cube. It was 7 feet by 5 feet, and it was see-through. That's weird. I mean, could you imagine seeing that in the forest? And then all of a sudden he sees this man appear, and the man was dressed in black, and he asked the gentleman, he said, "Are you hungry?" Which is kind of weird. The way he described the man, he had straw-like hair. He was dressed in black. He didn't have one arm, and he pulls out these capsules. One was white, and one was 4 capsules. I think they were white and red. And he asked him, if you're hungry. So he said, yeah, I'm hungry. So he took one of them and he ate it. And all of a sudden he's suddenly inside the craft, which is kind of freaky.
Yeah, I don't think I would eat those.
I know. It's like, I don't understand it either. Like,
well, if the capsules were red and blue, you eat the red one, you become a Republican. You eat the blue one, you become a Democrat.
So he's in the craft. He's suddenly in the craft. And then he sees the elk on the other side of the craft on board. So is this?
Well, I question, Jen, whether the elk is really there. Because, you know, in UFO, the older cases, Whitley Strieber, others, it was always the owl. You would see the owl, and it was really, now get this, here's the answer. These are hunters' elk. That's what he's there to hunt. So
Yeah,
they
he's
show
there
you
to-
what, they
he's there
show
to-
you an elk, right?
Yeah,
And-
that's
and-
true.
They show you what you expect to see, and then they take the guy.
Okay, well,
Like they're not going to show a silverback gorilla in Wyoming, right? So they show you something you expect to see, and that's all
Well,
part
yeah,
of
I
like,
never took it like that. That you expected. Well, he
Yeah.
sees them, and well, he
Yeah.
saw them. He saw them hovering.
Yeah.
So he was the elk were abducted, and so was he. But they're
or the elk
inside.
wasn't
But how do you
there.
know? How do you know it's not a hologram?
Yeah,
That's
that's what I'm
true.
saying. I don't think the elk were really there. I think
That's
they were
true.
showing it to him so they could take him. Just
That's
like
true.
years ago when you saw the owl, that was an alien appearing to you like a shapeshifter, appearing to something that's not going to scare you. An elk
That's
isn't
true.
going to scare a hunter with a big gun, you know?
Well, he shot at the elk.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what he was expected to do.
Okay, so he's this humanoid or whatever he is. He's dressed in all black like a scuba diving, and he told them that the reason why he was wearing black is because our sun is so burns them, so he's wearing black.
Or he should have wore white to reflect the sun. Black absorbs it. I mean, come on.
I like
Same
that.
thought I had, John.
You can't pull this stuff over on me.
So he takes them behind a screen. Okay, so he takes them behind a screen, and he tells them what he did. They do something to him, and they said, "We don't need you. We don't need you anymore." And he goes, "Why don't you need me anymore?" It's because he had a vasectomy.
Hey, well, I mean, remember the Species, the movies? Do you remember that? When she was picking guys to mate with, the first guy was diabetic. She went to his apartment and he had insulin in the refrigerator, and she right away rejected him because he wasn't perfect, you know?
Yeah, so they sent him back down to this one specific spot. But when they did find his wife was at her home, and wherever she was, she had this need that someone was telling her that her husband was there. So she gets to where she thinks he is, and the police have him in the car, and he's looking up at this out the window, looking up, and he says, "They have my elk," which was kind of strange.
Yeah, but the elk was never there, I don't believe.
So
think
they
that
go
was a
to the
hologram.
hospital. It could have been. They take him to the hospital, and they found out that they did, they did all these tests on him to see how he was. And apparently, when they did the X-rays on his chest, his lungs would have had some TB, tuberculosis scars on it, but he no longer had that. So whatever they did behind the screen, they fixed his lungs, but they
Then
didn't
why didn't
want
they
his.
fix?
They
why
didn't
didn't they-
want his reproductive system because it was not intact. Because
Well, why didn't they fix it? If they could
Well,
fix his
because it
lungs,
wasn't intact. I don't know. Maybe they.
you
Maybe
can reconnect the
I
vasectomy.
don't know.
come on.
I'm just a
This-
messenger.
Well, I'm
I
telling you,
know.
there's holes in these stories because if they can cure TB from your lungs, they can certainly reconnect a tube.
That's true. Well,
I
maybe it
guess.
was. Well, maybe it was removed. Maybe because they do different. They
Well,
do.
they'll put a plastic one in.
They do all kind of different vasectomies. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
I know what
this
it
was-
is. They're going to take the elk tube and put it in the guy like they use pig parts.
Or he could have been castrated. He didn't want to tell anybody that.
I don't think that was it.
You never know.
All right, next chapter.
Okay, we
There's
go.
two more.
I have to look at my notes. I write like a chimpanzee. Okay, so the state director of MUFON was talking to him again and asking what he thought they were. I mean, one thing that the state director said is they never were found where they were.
Where they were adopted.
So they were dropped off somewhere
Yeah.
different from where they were picked up.
Yeah, or they were never abducted from somewhere where they were never been before. So
But
that-
let me ask you this. The thing is named Missing 411. Everybody you're telling me here has been returned. Did he talk about missing people or just the ones that got returned?
Oh, just the one. No, in the beginning, he wasn't returned.
Okay.
The man wasn't returned. They never came back. They never know what happened. But they found out that he did not have a vasectomy.
Okay.
So they kept him because he didn't have. That's what David said. No, I don't know if that was the truth or not. So he didn't keep it. But there was always the dogs, the search team, no sense. They were always by water. And then they found this one guy who said that he was instructed to build a well. Okay. He said an alien actually talked to him and instructed him to build a well.
And all the geologists were laughing at him because
Yeah.
they kept telling him there's no way you could build a well, and he continued doing it, and he hit water.
Yeah, he hit water. But they found out later in the story that this well was almost near this. What was it called, Sean? I can't find
Aqua something. It's buried underneath the ground.
Yeah.
Aquafilter.
And they think that the reason why they did that was a fair way for them to get underwater. So if they needed to disappear, what perfect place can they disappear is into the water. And to escape that particular spot, if they were spotted, they would travel to the well and come up. You know, we always say how Bigfoot, all of a sudden he comes up somewhere and it's always by water. Well, he could come up through the well.
Yeah.
So
And,
that made sense. That made sense.
Anna Young has a question. Do you guys believe that a lot of religion is because of the aliens appearing and ancient man couldn't explain what they were seeing?
Could be.
No. I always thought that all of those old stories and tales were based around angels and fallen angels and what they were doing. And I think they, prior to Jesus, there's no doubt that they showed themselves. They showed themselves in Egypt as Horus and the other gods, and all those stories you ever heard of with these senators, half animal, half human. I think those were all fallen angels, shape-shifting, that type of thing.
Could be.
Yeah, I want to make another comment. I was talking to somebody. I can't remember who it was now. And, he said that, this ancient alien stuff where they talk about these ancient sites. And, he said, do you realize how disrespectful that is to people in the Middle East, Egyptians, South Americans, that you're saying that they couldn't have built those temples, those pyramids, those sites, but yet because you're from America, you don't think that they had those abilities 2,000-3,000 years ago. I never looked at it that way, but that's something to consider when we start saying it was aliens and it couldn't be Egyptians or Incas.
True.
But it just goes back to all these cases in this particular documentary are all in clusters, and they're in the same location. And they said that it forms. He did a triangle like the ship. So all these people that were abducted all form the triangle, the area, and it goes to the waterway too, where the well was. So
you got water, you got elk. The pattern is in a triangle of attacks, and the guys that weren't fixed were taken.
Yeah,
right.
But almost all of them were returned, right?
No.
Okay.
No. Only one returned.
This is a different angle. I was thinking about this. All of the abduction cases throughout this field have always been where they come, they take you, but they always returned you, all of them. But they would keep coming back whenever they wanted to and do it again. So this is a different angle on the alien abduction in that they take you like cattle, or even the cattle will return too and mutilated. But these are taking you permanently. And that has really never been part of the alien abduction MO, to just take you permanently. Although Mulder's sister in X-Files, they took her, right? Never got her back.
No. It's just, to me, I don't like when we were like all these different guests we have on the show that say they were abducted. I don't believe that they're here to do good. I don't believe that
I don't either.
I believe they maybe that they're here to take Earth over for themselves. There's a lot of stories, I know it's fictional, that their planet's dying and they need this Earth for themselves, or they want to make a super soldier. And it's the government who want to make a super soldier with these high intelligent races, with the humans, to make this perfect soldier.
Right.
That could be it too. I don't know. Why is the military involved? Why are they covering it up? Why would they cover it up if, unless they're using it for themselves?
And why is the military all of a sudden telling you that, UAPs and UFOs are real? If the 80 years are telling you they're not, all of a sudden they're telling you, yeah, they are.
So why would they?
Yeah, I can tell you why on that one, John, is because a lot of people are starting to think, okay? They're starting to realize that these UFOs, UAPs are out there, and the government had to come back in and say, hey, we better do something here. Because out of those 44 videos that they showed, they claimed only one possibly could have been a UFO.
Yeah. But here's the thing militarily. If you want to be a superior power, you control the skies. You don't have to control the oceans, but with the Navy, if you control the sky with the Air Force, you are a dominant military power. So basically what we're saying is that these craft fly over the United States, anywhere in the 50 states, 48, contiguous, and they can do whatever the hell they want. So apparently the Air Force is not very good or powerful compared to them. I don't think the military would admit that and say, yep, they're here, they're real, and there ain't nothing we can do about it. So don't go out at night. I don't think that's the reason. I think it's a cover for our own craft is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cover for ours.
Could be. Well, let's look at the trailer for people who haven't seen it. We'll play the trailer for you guys. If I can figure out if I can figure it out. Let me try it. Okay, share screen.
Oh.
Well, we lost Jen, so hey, how you doing, Sean?
I'm doing okay. Just getting ready for the holiday season. I don't know. I really like this guy. I really wish he could.
Politis? Yeah, he's pretty good. I asked him to come to our Pittsburgh conference, and the thing was, when he came to Pittsburgh last time, people didn't buy his books. So he said, no, he's not coming back to Pittsburgh. But the 2 times we had him in Philadelphia, he sold out. They bought all of his books. So, there's a chance I can get him for Philly, but I don't think he'll come to Pittsburgh.
Well, how about on our show, bud?
Oh, well, personally, I thought he was going to be on tonight. I'm on vacation right now. I'll be home tomorrow, but I thought that he was going to be on tonight. I didn't know he wasn't.
That would be nice to have him on because not like the very first one I saw was The Hunted. Okay.
Yeah.
And
well, it'd be probably be tough right now with the premiere coming out. I'm sure he's busy right now and doing some interviews and stuff like that. If today's the day that it came out,
But I like the way he goes and he talks to the witnesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not someone like
What
going
happened?
off. I don't know.
It didn't play, and you disappeared.
That's so weird. Aliens and
the aliens did it.
Maybe there's like alien in your glasses there or something.
I don't know.
Your sunglasses and shit.
That's so stupid. Let me try it again. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it's doing this. Oh my God.
I don't know either.
I need a producer. That's what I need.
I'm sure he's in New Orleans or Mississippi.
Where?
Did Paulides talk about other locations, because
Yeah, you did.
oh,
He
he
did.
did, well,
Can you hear this? Can you see it?
yeah, good.
Okay.
Put full screen.
It looks like people are snatched off the ground, and then some of them are dropped back miles.
Oh my God, this is so
That's
bad.
George Knapp speaking.
Why is it doing that? Oh my God. Oh,
Maybe the government don't want our listeners to see
No,
it.
I was just doing it and it just disappeared. Oh my God. So
John, we've done shows before you came and started on our show. There were
Hmm.
shows where we were talking about like secret government stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And honest to God, they were listening in and they really wreaked havoc on our
Oh, yeah.
podcast. They
Yeah,
did.
I did 4 radio shows. With 3, they took the signal down, or 1 went off the air. 2 was so low they barely broadcast. And the 4th one, as we were getting into it like this, talking about the
Recordings
Yellowstone
just got better.
Super
Hey, it's
Bowl
Dana
came.
from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that local.
This is the location of a missing hunter.
it's not playing again. Why?
Yeah, the one show, Sean,
It looks like people are snatched off the ground, and then some of them are dropped back miles and miles away.
For thousands of years, the human species has looked to the skies in amazement at unidentified objects. We are staring at unconventional possibilities supported by
Wow.
your Wi-Fi is probably just not a good connection right now.
witnesses,
No.
video, and most recently, our own government. I have investigated hundreds of cases that push the limits of standard everyday police protocol.
The 3 witnesses saw this object picking up the elk.
There was no cable, nothing discernible holding the elk to the craft.
I know what happened to me. It happened in 1974. Next thing I know, I was in this cubicle.
In many stories, children are right there, and then the next second they're gone. After reading thousands of reports, I started to document what is called profile points. The number 1 profile point is lack of scent trail.
It was unusual that they had that many tracking dogs. I've never found a track.
The more you hear, the stranger the story gets. Why send a SWAT team on a missing person case?
When I saw that, that's when I, went down on my knees.
They are connected to extra-dimensional beings. Those are real. How do you explain to a grieving family that something paranormal may be tied to the disappearance?
Yep, that's it. I thought it was good. I strongly recommend seeing it. Oh, Anna, I have excellent eye. Wait a minute. Why did it shut off?
Is Sean there? Hey, Sean,
Yeah,
do
I'm
our
here, bud.
commercial break for a second.
Okay, yeah, it's 8:03. So, do you want to play the music?
Are we having a commercial?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
let's
having a
get that out of the way.
Okay. Let's get that out of the way. I never heard that one before. Get it out of the way.
That's a New York term.
Okay.
I want
Thank
forget
you,
about it.
Formation,
Go ahead.
sponsoring this hour of Chasing Prophecy Radio. Make sure you get some breakfast essentials. Sean, what do you think about that?
I love it. I love it. Hey, they came
Love
out with a
that.
brownie mix too.
They do.
Our nation has a brownie mix.
How about hot chocolate? They do
wow,
hot
really?
chocolate?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Carnation, for
Uh,
sponsoring this hour of Chasing Prophecy. Okay. Wow. I
But
just
you know
want
what?
to say one thing before we continue. Anna, I have excellent, the highest paid Wi-Fi imaginable. If there's an issue, it's not on my end, it's on StreamYard's. There we go.
No, it's
Right
not,
out of the
it's
way.
not Xfinity?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no outages. Okay, go ahead, John, what you were going to say. John.
Well, I wanted to go back a little bit.
What I was going to say. Go ahead, John. Go ahead,
Sean and John sound similar, you know.
Let's do the two-step next.
Yeah. Well, my question was, did David talk about the history of missing people and villages and things? Because there's three that I had in one of my books. I get my fingers right. There's three that came to mind. One was, and I don't remember the year, in Alaska. There was a village up there, and when the police or whatever got up there, all the dogs were in the pens. You know, it's snowing out, all of that. Dogs are in the pens, lights on in the house, not one person around, a lot of the people, food on the table, but every human being was gone, totally gone. And the cemetery had been dug up. Where the graves were, the gravestones were dug up, and the bones and the bodies were missing. That's a weird case. Nobody knows where all of those people in that village went in Alaska, gone. You know, then there's the one in Roanoke, North Carolina, where, you know, this is early on, where the settlers were there, and they went back to get supplies, you know, so it's going to be a 6-month trip or whatever it might be. And when they got back, the fort was totally empty. There were no settlers, none of them. They were all gone from the fort in Roanoke, North Carolina. And they actually, you know, they had like some trade agreements or whatever with the Indians, and they got there and they said, where did everybody go? And the Indians said, we don't know. We came back and there was nobody here, you know, in the fort. Now, technically, they could have gone in and just captured all of them and taken them, you know, and they're just lying to them. But that's one too, Roanoke, North Carolina, Alaska. And the last one that I caught some criticism on, I did an article through CNN, through a reporter about missing people like that, but it was Malaysia Flight 370. Do you remember that? When that flight, it changed direction like 3 times. They told you it was heading northeast towards Japan, and next thing you know, it's heading west to Mongolia. You know, next thing it's heading south. And I said, wait a second, something's wrong here. You know, either the plane had been taken over, or this thing, and then all of a sudden it's gone. It's off the radar, and it totally disappeared. And I came out and I made a statement that Malaysia Flight 370 was taken by aliens. And I referenced the Alaska Village, Roanoke, North Carolina, and there were other examples. The Marie Celeste, if you're familiar with that ship, it was found in like the Indian Ocean. It had ice on it. The thing about this, it's like 95 degrees there. The ship is found. The entire crew is missing. Food on the table, and there was frost and ice on the deck and on everything, like it was just moved from Alaska to the Indian Ocean. So, you know, this stuff has happened, and there's more and more cases like that. But these are bigger cases that have a lot of people, 50, 100, 200 people gone. You know, I just wondered, did David bring up any of those in any of his missing 411? Talk about the history.
He just talked about Skinwalker Ranch. That's it.
Yeah, because there's more to this. I mean, this goes back. And, you know, I got to talk to him. Maybe his missing 411, his next book would be historical cases, because I just gave you 4 real good ones.
There you go. You should.
Yeah, I mean, that's another angle, you know.
But I found it to be interesting, and I'm glad I watched it. And I mean, I follow his YouTube channels. What, Sean? He's frozen.
Look, they're taking Sean. Keep an eye on him. They just brought him back.
Doing a job.
They took him and just brought him back.
No matter what time we go, no matter where we go, there's always gremlins in it.
I'm telling you, it's the
Yeah.
government.
It could be. It could
Big
be.
Brother
What
is
what I find, if he
Yes.
just, he's getting into deeper and darker topics and connecting the dots, and he's always
Oh,
going
wow.
back to the government, and I think that he might disappear.
I tell you what,
If he disappears, you know why? Because he was on to something.
yeah, well, he's up in Montana, and that's not a heavily populated place. And when you start going around to do these interviews, and you got a 50, 80-mile ride on those roads, and that you look at them right now, it's 21 degrees and heavy snow there.
Yeah.
Montana's snowed in right now, so he could disappear.
No, seriously, that's the take I got at the very end, and I said he's going to end up being missing one day. Because it's
Did he talk about his son at all in this one, or was that in The Hunted that he brought it up?
No, he didn't talk about his son, and I always thought, he lost his son through suicide, and I said, how do you know he really was? Maybe they took him.
Well,
maybe he knew too much.
Well, the thing I was kind of thinking was, didn't the son tell? No, the son was very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, the son was very helpful with him to do these documentaries and always wanted to participate. And I think they were doing The Hunted one, or he had just moved up to Montana. He had just moved to Montana.
Yeah,
I guess they were working.
He just moved up there.
Yeah, they were working on this one, and the son was saying, "I'm going to come up and help you." And next thing, all of a sudden, the son is dead. Supposedly, I think, a suicide. And to him, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought about when he mentioned his son.
So he feels he lost his son to this research too. That there could be a lot more to this.
I don't know if that's what he feels. That's what I feel. I feel that he lost because you don't know.
Yeah.
You start dabbling into things that you're not supposed to, and
that's how they get you. They come after your family, and that's usually what hurts the most.
Mm-hmm. And we lost Sean.
I told you they took him. They took Sean.
We have to, for the next hour, I wanted to talk about something that I was going to do it for next week's show, but I don't know if we're going to do. Are you interested in doing a show next week, or do you want to take it off because of the holidays?
No, I'm back. I'll be home tomorrow, but.
Okay, because there's something I want to talk about next week, but I won't bring it up then, since if you want to do the show, I wasn't sure. John, where's John today? John, where are you today? My son wants to know.
Oh, me? I'm in Washington, D.C. And you know what? If I was really smart, I would have tracked these guys down from the Pentagon and stuff and say, I want to interview you. I want to find out what's going on with all of this stuff, because I don't believe a word you're saying. But I'm here on vacation, so I didn't want to. But that's exactly what you should do, is mix some research in with a vacation. But I'll be home. I'll be home.
Definitely. Yeah. Here comes John. Sean, is he back? Yeah, he's back. We have really bad Wi-Fi, but not Wi-Fi. I don't know what it is. It's StreamYards, I think. I don't think it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Because John, you sound great, and you haven't lost, and you're in a hotel somewhere, so you're on Wi-Fi, and I think your internet's great. There's so many different views on this, and MUFON. I'm really not a fan of MUFON these days.
I'm not either. So go ahead.
Especially since they're changing their views on things, and they don't think that anything paranormal, which is ridiculous, because isn't UFOs and the mutual benefit for humanity, isn't that paranormal too?
Well, the fact that they only want to look at lights in the sky and physical craft, that tells you it's a diversion to look at that, but that's not where it's from. That's not the issue.
Yeah, because MUFON doesn't believe that they don't want to talk about Bigfoot, and it's all interchangeable. We don't even know if following David's Bigfoot 101, he was saying, you have to, if you're into Bigfoot, you have to participate, watch these videos. There's 9 of them. I think there's 9 of them, or 10. And he's saying there's, like, people are saying they're getting pictures and descriptions of these Neanderthal, you know, they look like apes, but with ponytails. What ape have you ever saw wearing a ponytail?
Well,
What? Well,
you'd have to be intelligent to tie it
yes,
off. Right?
intelligent being. So it can't be a monkey or an ape or a gorilla. So this creature that they're seeing, they have proof. These people have proof that they saw that they had a ponytail. So if a Bigfoot is smart enough to know how to use a ponytail, I'm saying.
Again, these shapeshifters are showing you something from your own culture, you know.
So you're thinking that this Bigfoot that's wearing a ponytail is because, oh, I wear a ponytail.
Well, some men wear ponytails, women do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
There's a lot of cultures that put the hair in a ponytail, you know. But a primate in the woods would not put his hair in a ponytail. Wouldn't happen. So that's telling you this is a shape-shifting alien and not a real primate that's a missing link.
But they've been saying Bigfoot. They have proof that people have seen in the Lewis and Clark time.
Right.
Why don't they have any actual proof if they've been seeing this creature for so many years?
Well, that's
and they don't have no physical proof.
That's the argument with UFOs, Bigfoot, you know, ghosts, or what, you know, is that you can never catch them. Where is the body of evidence, you know, other than some sounds and videos? Where is the actual body, the habeas corpus? Where is it that you could take to court and say, here's a UFO craft, here's an alien, here's a Bigfoot, you know, here's a demon. We were able to capture him. He's in a jar, you know, like a genie in a lamp. You know, they used to get them to gin. They were able to capture them in the lamps, you know.
Okay.
But there is absolutely zero evidence, you know, that would stand up in a court, let's say, for any of this. And that tells me it's interdimensional. It has to be interdimensional, because I don't think
what about these parallel universes?
Well, I don't think they could stay here. I think that's the whole point, is that the energy dissipates after an hour, 2 hours, 15 minutes. I don't think it can stay here, which is why you don't see these craft and everything else for extended periods of time. I think it has to go back to the other dimension. That's why you don't find anything.
Well, that's because they're going through these water holes.
It's a portal.
Portals. Or it's just I don't know. Then there was speculation that the moon is actually a ship.
Yeah, I've heard that. And you know what that's based on?
Then we have a guy that said, what?
Good, say that. Sean, what'd you say?
Oh, we had a guest that said the moon is only half or something like that.
Half?
But we only see the one side and there's nothing on the other side. No.
My Wi-Fi is screwed up.
Yeah, what it was really, one of the main things with that is one of the Apollo missions, they did a test. They put one of those meters on the moon when they landed, Apollo 15, I don't know what it was. And they wanted to see if there's any seismic activity on the moon. So when they took off, they deliberately dropped the booster back to the moon. So, you know, it fell from 2,000 feet, whatever it was. It hit the surface of the moon, and the Richter scale, whatever was there, picked up, it rung in the center of the moon like a bell. It went back and forth, back and forth. So there's a major part of the moon that's hollow. That's a fact. The moon is not like Earth. That's, you know, most of it is liquid or rock or whatever. There's a major part of the moon in the middle that's hollow, you know. So that's, and plus the moon, when you date it, radiometric dating, the moon is a different age than the Earth. It's older than the Earth. So the moon came along later, you know. It wasn't didn't break off from the Earth. It got there later, Plus, it moves with such synchronicity with the Earth. As we turn, it turns, so you only see the one side facing you. The thing about that, it turns so slowly, and we turn fast that it stays always with that one side looking at us. And it's also a quarter of the size of the Earth, which no other moon in our solar system is a quarter of the size of the planet. It's bigger than Mercury and Mars, I believe. And when you get an eclipse, it's the exact size to block out the sun. I mean, there are so many incredible things about the moon that you start to wonder. And plus, you need the moon there for the tide, and it holds the Earth because of the wobble. The Earth that's the precession. The Earth, when it spins, it has a little wobble, and then it starts to go offline and can turn, over 3,000 years, whatever can turn. The moon helps to hold it in place. So there's a lot of strange things to the moon. Is that just mathematical? Well, if you got 1 trillion planets, you'll have one good moon like that. I don't know.
What was the purpose of them bombing the moon? Like, why were they doing that years ago?
They blew up bombs on the moon.
They bombed the moon. Why did they do that?
Was that Russia or China? I think I
thought it was the United States. I don't know who did it. I just remember them doing it. And I was like, why would you do that? Wouldn't that mess up something? What if there was living, what if it was a base?
Well, I guess they'd get a reaction. And I don't think we're at the point where we want to get a reaction from them as far as repelling it,
Yeah, definitely.
Well, then you get those other astronomers who, told somebody else that Edgar Mitchell and Neil Armstrong that, when we landed on the moon, there was a craft hovering right there, and he said it on radio. It's right there. It's one right there hovering. And then they came up with the code name of Santa Claus. That's like that's a military code name. Is we got
really?
Santa Claus. Yeah, I think that's the one. I think that's the one they used, but there was a number of them where they said we have a Santa Claus, and the public didn't know what that meant, but that was code for them saying there's a craft here. And then they have they have a separate channel for speaking to Houston that you don't hear, we don't pick up on. But the guy who was the communications director, Maurice Chatillon, he went public with some of the things that were said, that there's something else on the moon.
There's something else out there. You have to believe that. I mean, we're coming to a fruition where there's so many different things we're seeing in the skies. Loud bang. What about that big sonic boom that somebody heard? And you guys, did you look into the meteors that I was talking about last week? The green meteor that went across the sky. People from as far as, what was it, Virginia saw the same one?
I think it was one of those GE Mark II reentry vehicles that I believe is Kecksburg, because that was green coming in because it had a copper alloy heat shield that would glow green. So many of these are still up in the sky, and when one comes in, it will glow green. In my opinion, that's what it was, is one of our reentry vehicles.
Yeah, because I never saw a meteor that was green. I mean,
it would have to have a high content of copper to glow green.
Yeah, so that's one of many. So what do you think, Sean? You're quiet.
Well, every time I talk, everybody breaks up.
No, it's not you. It's just it's StreamYard. It sucks. Sorry, but it's true.
I don't know. I'm just I want to learn more with David in the missing 411 because I find it so intriguing.
Yeah, so do I.
I watched The Hunted 5 times.
5.
Okay, 5 times. And I know I'm going to be watching this one a couple more times, But what's blowing me away about the whole thing is it's the elk hunters.
Yeah, okay? It's kind of strange that they were just They were all in the same vicinity too.
So if this took place in Pennsylvania, I say they would have saw deer. They would have shown the hunters, because the deer hunters here, you know, they would have shown the hunters what they expected to see, which is a 15-point deer that they were looking to shoot.
Right.
You know, that's what's in the area. That's what they show them, the aliens.
I really believe, because not in the show, it said that the elk were just standing there and they weren't moving. And then the hologram, what John had to say, I think it was a hologram that they showed this dude.
Yeah, I agree.
Was it Project Bluebeam? Isn't that holographic too?
Mm-hmm. Project
Okay,
Bluebeam. I'd like to
haven't
know
talked
if anybody
about that
out
for a
there
while.
what their views are. I mean, if you have a comment or question, or what do you think they are? Please put them in the chat. We'd love to hear you.
Hey, Jen, were these all, Sean, were these all in national parks that he was talking about in this one?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, so they weren't just, they were in national parks. So it wasn't just some guy and he has a 10-acre ranch or something.
No, it all happens. Yeah,
No.
that's what's frightening, because I would never go in these national parks.
Well, you know, that's my point, though. As far as you mentioned, David Paulides, you know, he may disappear. Don't you think don't you think that somebody with the National Park Service or a big fan of going to these parks is going to be upset with him, saying, you know how many people you've caused not to visit our national parks because of this stuff?
Well, he's gotten a lot of hassle from them too.
Well, I'm just saying, I would be worried, because there are always fanatics. There are environmentalists, you know, there's you know, climate change crazies. You know, you could have some crazy with these national parks and stuff, or a family member. You know, these people who all disappeared, let's say the ones that didn't come back, maybe they don't want you implying that it was aliens or Bigfoot that took them. Somebody could retaliate. I'm not saying they will, but I'm just saying that's always a possibility when you start throwing out theories like that. I mean, they came after me for Malaysia Flight 370. I said it makes perfect sense to me. The thing turned, right angle turns 3-4 times, and then boop, it's off the screen. What are you kidding me? I think it disappeared. But CNN ran that one. They were happy with my article.
Traitor.
MUFON. Yeah, I know. That was when CNN was more news than BS.
What were you on? Was it Maury Povich? No, what was it? Was it
Anderson Cooper?
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was, you know, it was a tough interview, because they set me up with the biggest skeptic out there, Joe Nickel. And I held my own. But, you know, the producer, every commercial break, he said, you're too professional. You got to get more excited. You got to point fingers and yell and stuff. And, you know, when he was attacking these three, you know, that's the sensationalism that they wanted. But he was attacking these three women, and he said to them, you were either drunk or high on drugs. And then he brought up the one in Chicago, O'Hare Airport. And, you know, I said to him, Joe, it has to be, you're telling me it's a hole punch cloud, but it's 56 degrees. How do you get a hole punch cloud when it's not freezing? It has to be freezing for the ice to drop through the cloud. And why would it drop through the cloud in a perfect circle? Come on. You know, and then I started yelling at him. I said, you don't look at the evidence. All you try to do is debunk it without looking at the evidence. So I did yell at him. And then people weren't happy with me for getting upset and yelling at the guy. I thought I did a good job. You know, but MUFON wasn't happy. When I went to the board meeting, I was on their board at the time. They said, oh, that didn't go the way we wanted. I said, well, then maybe you should have showed up. None of you wanted to go on the show. You sent me. I was the rookie at the time in 2012. You sent me. They didn't like that either.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just totally done with MUFON. It's so funny. I keep getting these harassing emails from Steve Hedges telling me to take it down. You're not supposed to have it on there. You can't use our banner anymore. And I said, well, I was given permission to use the banner, and I will keep the banner up until Facebook takes it down. I said, he goes, you have to change the name. Okay, I'll chat. How would you like this? MUFON sucks, or MUFON's not credible?
Well,
MUFON is not a valid research organization.
Well, you know what I would change it to? There was a group out there called MUFON Global. So they added an L. It's MUFLON, MUFLON. But I would change it to Muffin. I would make it MUFFIN, Muffin.
Muffin.
There's a lot of people who call MUFON Muffin anyhow. Muffin.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. Or make it MUFON, Muffin.
How do you? Well, how should I do
Well, why
MUF?
are they-
I
why
would
is
make it
MUFON
Muffin,
doing this?
MUFIN, Muffin.
Why? Because they have a vendetta against me because I did not like one particular person. You remember this Flintstones? So there was a guy named Fred.
Yeah, but they're
that
doing,
was-
they're doing, you're not the only one, Jen. I've heard this now for a year that they're telling people who are not, like there's a state page that I run, you know. So if the state has a state MUFON page, they don't want all these others on there, especially if they're not MUFON members anymore. So, you know, technically it's like, you know, it's like telling Google or Facebook how to run their business. It's their business. If they don't want you to have the page, Jen, there's nothing you can do about it. You could change the name to Muffin. That's what I would do. But legally, they own it. You know,
Well, they
you
can.
can't use it.
They can just. Well, I was given permission by Jan, and then I talked to the captain, as he called himself. He gave me permission via the telephone. Now, if he doesn't remember he had this conversation, tell them to contact Facebook and have Facebook take it down.
They could. I mean, they could just send a letter to Facebook.
Because I
to
really
tell-
don't. I really don't. I got it back in 2000. I did it in 2011 when I was an investigator, and that's another thing they told me that I gave out CMS information to a non-member. I never did that in my life, so that was a big lie that they made up.
But make it Muffin, MUFIN. Westmoreland Muffins.
Wait, wait? How should I MUF?
MUFIN. Westmoreland
Put it
Muffin.
in the chat. I will do that just to dick them off.
I'm on my phone. I can't do it. Just make it
Okay.
Muffin.
I don't have
MUFIN.
my. I want to make sure I get it right.
You can't remember a muffin?
No, I can't.
Blueberry. Think about this.
I just want to make sure I don't put muff like
I send it in the private
FUFFLA.
chat.
MUFIN. Westmoreland Allegheny Muffin. That's all you gotta do. I think that's funny. I would do that. Then they can't do anything. You change the name.
I'll do it just to jerk them off.
You just make it Muffin.
Keeps
MUFIN.
emailing me. Leave me alone. Are you that bored? You have nothing to talk about?
Listen to me. Make it Muffin.
Okay, Muffin John.
There you go.
All right, John, what's the big deal behind all they're giving her a bunch of crap, man? That ain't right.
Well, I just explained that. They own the name. And if there's a state page,
I know, but that's not what he sent me. He sent me stuff about, he does not, the reason why is because we post stuff that deals with paranormal and they don't want to be associated with the paranormal. And I was trying to say to you, what isn't UFOs paranormal? The orbs, Bigfoot, because they think Bigfoot's an alien. And that's another thing. They said, we don't talk about paranormal. I said, every conference that I have gone to, there was something paranormal. It was demonic, demons and angels. That's paranormal. Bigfoot was paranormal. Mothman is paranormal. What is he telling me that I should just copy and paste what he wrote in the chat, in this email, saying that they don't want to deal with the paranormal. Okay. That's what it says. I know what I think I will post it in. I'm going to post it right now.
don't post it. Don't post it. He sent me a message that we don't put paranormal and Bigfoot on the MUFON page. So I went back and I took it off because I had a couple of my lectures up there.
But John, we talk about at all the conferences that you did, there was Bigfoot, there was Mothman, there was demons, angels. That is paranormal. Where'd he go?
Everybody's like, Muffin is doing this to you, you know. This is
Maybe.
Muffin.
Maybe it is
Muffin is retaliating against the signal right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I took the paranormal stuff off. It's their page. It's not my page. He says, we don't want paranormal. He wants nuts and bolts UFOs. I went back for about 6 months, but I took all the paranormal stuff off. No Bigfoot, none of my lectures about Lilith, and all the others I put up there. I'm not
Okay,
gonna put-
so when you do your conference, when you schedule the conference, are you going to have paranormal stuff?
Yes.
Well, I don't understand why.
Well, what's he going to do about it? Fire
Because
me?
yeah, it's paranormal. You shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, but here's the deal. You fire me, there's no conference anymore. They going to run it? They're not going to run it. If you want me to run your conference, I pick the topic. And the conference, I could just change the name on it. It doesn't have to be MUFON, PA MUFON, because that conference is mine, technically.
Make it PA Muffin.
I'll make it PA Muffins, Blueberry.
But I am
We'll
gonna
have a
do-
code. Chocolate?
If I will do that either tonight or tomorrow. We'll change it to muffin.
Make it muffin. We'll have a code. Bigfoot will be chocolate muffins. Aliens will be blueberry muffins. You know,
And then,
so
then he says I suspended him. I said, yeah, I suspended you. You were bombing the comments saying being rude.
yeah, but I took the paranormal stuff off. It's his page. You know, technically he could tell me you can't use PA MUFON anymore. You know,
Well, if it's his page, why isn't he an admin?
well, the name is owned. Like you can't create Facebook.
Well, it's not his name. He don't own MUFON. The members own MUFON. The
Yeah, but
volunteers.
he's acting for the board and what they're directing him to do. I mean, you can't call your page Facebook. They're going to tell you.
why,
You can't
if that's
Facebook.
the case, why doesn't someone else contact me? That's not him because
Because once they find out you're not able to cry, they can't make you cry like a girl.
he wants me to cry.
Well, you said you had surgery because you can't.
Oh,
So there's no chance of upsetting you because you're not able to cry. That's why you had surgery.
I can't. I can't cry.
But make it muffin. I like PA muffin.
PA muffin. Okay, I'll make it muffin for you, John. For you, John, I'll make a PA
All right.
muffin.
Do you know that a couple of years ago I tried to buy Fate magazine, FATE? You familiar with Fate magazine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I tried to buy it, but she was ridiculous in what she wanted. You know, the thing has got no value to it. You know, because she's taken all the subscription money, and if you buy it, you got to produce 18 months of magazines with no income because she already spent it. You know, but if I did do that my page, Facebook, and conference would have been Fate magazine. I would have changed the name. That would have been mine. And if I could have bought it, but I can't get it from her. So one day maybe.
Do you really want it?
Well, you're not gonna make any money with it, but
Well,
but, you know,
I don't know. I think MUFON's it's just a scam, and all the people involved on the top are just scam. Like either they're pedophiles like Chan. We'll find somebody else. The captain. He's probably the captain. Knew that. You remember that movie? I'm the captain now. You know, he does pirates. I don't trust any of them.
the thing with MUFON is they want you to look at craft in the sky on radar and that type of stuff. And this is much bigger than that. And if they're trying to limit you to that, then they're covering something up, you know, and there's a lot, you know, the investigators like you years ago, they don't get the good cases anymore. They don't get the abductions. They don't get the landings. It goes to a specialist in some, you know, Dayton, Ohio or Cincinnati. What am I going to do investigations for if all I'm seeing is lights in the sky? It's probably a meteor or a satellite. I wouldn't do it.
Mhm.
You know, to me, I have no interest in ever being with MUFON again. I'm retired from that.
I would
idea.
never go. I would never. And then
Do you think the government and MUFON's covering for the government?
nah.
I think there has to be a connection because nowhere do they pay for the server time with IBM. Their computer network is so big, so much information. If you did your muffin thing and go to GoDaddy with your muffins and put in, you know, all the 600 cases a month with all that information, they're going to tell you need server time. This is going to cost you $10,000 a month for the server time. They don't pay anything for server time. So why is IBM doing this for free? Now, Jan used to work for IBM, so okay, maybe there was a connection. They gave him a break. Well, he retired. He's not with them anymore. Who's paying for this? How are they getting all this server time for free? It doesn't make any sense. And does the government get access to the cases before the investigator does? I would say yes. I would say yes. So, but look, I like MUFON in the extent that they're hanging in there. Everything I've seen from them, the Hangar One show pointed the finger at the government. It wasn't pro-government. We pointed the finger at them that you got underground bases, you got this, you got that, and you're covering it up. So the TV show went against the government. And as far as I can see, they haven't gone along with this stuff with the government. They're still doing their own thing until they get infiltrated like NICAP. And I said this, they're going to put somebody on their board and then take over as the director, and they're going to spend all of their money on salaries, balls and banquets, expense accounts. And next thing you know, MUFON's out of business like they did with NICAP in the 70s. I could see that happening, absolutely. But not yet. You know, there's questions about MUFON in my mind too, but I haven't seen it that there's a connection there. You know, it seems to me like they try to resist the government, you know, but we'll see how that goes.
Did you happen to see that movie called Nope?
Yeah, it was terrible.
I thought it was pretty good.
Oh God,
an alien movie.
As soon as I watched it, I texted my kids, here's my rating on Nope. Nope. Don't watch it.
I liked it.
There was a couple of things about it though. The way he said that the craft was alive, right? It was actually a creature. Kenneth Arnold, in the first sighting back in 47, 48, whatever it was, he later in an interview said he thought that the 9 craft were actually alive and intelligent, the way they were moving and stuff, that he didn't think they were craft. He thought they were some sort of creature. It was alive, you know? So that part I think he got from the old folklore of Kenneth Arnold, you know, that it was alive. But, you know, he made it look like a cowboy hat. Did you notice that?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and if you looked at the hat underneath where you put your head in, that was that hole. And then it had the dome like a hat, like you could have put a cowboy hat on it. I don't know if that was being, you know, fun.
I thought it was a scary movie. It kept me, you know, my heart pounding.
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't know. To me, it was 2 stars max. 1.5 to 2 stars, I'd give it.
John, you're going to have to watch
I
it.
just want to meet an alien. I do.
Be careful what you wish for.
I want to shake his hand.
When he takes you
Well,
up
the first thing I tell you, Sean, is they could be toxic, so I wouldn't shake its hand. There was a case in Bahia, Brazil, where these 3 aliens were seen. They had bumps on their head like horns, and they were red. And the teenagers thought they were devils. They picked up rocks and bricks and stuff and started throwing at them, cornered them in an alley, and one of them got cornered, the others ran away. They killed it. They hit it with bricks and rocks and everything and killed it. And you can look this up. The EMS showed up, and I used to know the name of the ambulance guy. They went over, but he lifted it and put it on the gurney. And it was like the next day, he's home and he starts getting sick, like the flu. And then they took him to the hospital. He died like 3 days later after touching the creature.
There, John, are you going to go touch one now?
Yeah. And the other thing is never get under a craft. If you see one, don't get under it because there's always high radiation. You'll get radiation poisoning if you get under it. So don't touch them and don't get under the craft.
There you go.
So by the time I'm done with you, you ain't going to want to see one. You don't even want to be near one.
No, I do. I want to see it.
I would too, but I would be very cautious.
Denny knows because I say it all the time. I just want a spacecraft to land in my backyard. So I can honestly say they exist.
No, you're going to wake up tonight in about 3 o'clock in the morning, and a gray creature is going to be standing above your bed, and he's going to pull your down and take you by your feet to his craft, and he's going to.
And then you're going to be part of Missing 411, Pennsylvania.
What would you do without me on this show? knowing
Oh.
that I was abducted by an alien? What would
I
you
would
guys
ra-
do?
We'd
would
find
have-
a replacement and
Yeah,
a
we
better,
find a replacement.
it would be a better looking, it would be a good looking female to replace you. One that doesn't wear glasses, sunglasses.
I'm only going to do
So,
it this
what
week.
you're
I'll be healed
saying
by next
is-
week.
just, just kick me to the curb, like I never
That's
existed.
it.
You
Kick you
Do
to
you
the
wear,
curb.
wouldn't
do you,
be thinking like, who abducted him?
do you
Why
only
would
wear
I
green
go-
shirts because you're Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my Tuesday shirt, green.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed that
Yeah.
you're always green. You know, I'm
Yeah,
here
it's
in
my
DC
Tuesday
and
shirt.
I went to the Italian American Museum, and it turns out you needed an appointment to go in.
Are you
I said,
kidding
I'm
me?
here for today. I'm not here tomorrow. Well, you can't come in without an appointment.
Oh
And
my
you know,
God.
everybody here is wearing masks. A lot of the places,
Really?
it said it's still on the door. You have to wear a mask to come in here.
Oh my God.
You know, I went into some wildlife preserve company place. As soon as I went in, you got to have a mask. I said, I ain't wearing no mask. So,
Don't go.
but I went to National Geographic today museum. They had
Oh, that was
Tutankhamun.
nice.
King Tut. They had the whole King Tut thing. That was actually pretty
Cool.
nice. And I went to the Victims of Communism Museum. It's new. It talked about Russia and China and how Russia spread communism across the whole globe into China, Vietnam, Laos, Cuba. And it was Russia that spread it. It wasn't China. China picked up on it. But if you remember the three prophecies of Fatima, you remember the three girls, the kids, and the Virgin Mary?
Yeah.
One of the prophecies was about Russia, that if Russia doesn't change its ways, things are going to go very bad in the future.
Yeah.
And Russia was the key. And Russia went communist. That was in 1919, I think, Fatima.
Yeah.
And that's when communism started with Lenin, and Russia went to the dark side, and you see it today.
Oh, well, next week I'm gonna talk about what we're gonna talk about. Next week is the week John would like to be, we're gonna have the show. What do you think, Sean? Do you want to do the show next week or do you want to take off?
I'm gonna take off.
You're gonna
Yeah,
take
we
off?
can skip it if you want. I didn't realize next week is what, the 22nd?
Yeah.
It's up to you. I don't care.
I mean,
Well, what I was
I'm
gonna
doing-
talk about.
on my show, I'm doing a Christmas series for the month of December. So
Oh,
I'll
Grinch?
probably come on my show.
okay.
But-
Well, what I was going to talk about for next week is, now this actually happened to me this week. I don't know if you guys know the Italian curse of the Maluch.
Of the what?
The
The
Maluch.
Maluka.
Maluch?
The
I call it
The
Maluch.
Maluka.
I've
Yeah,
heard
I
of
know
it.
what it is.
Maluka, whatever. And
I've heard of it.
we were talking about that, and we did the ritual with me to see if I had it, and according to, I did have it. So I was going to talk about what I found out, what it is, how to get rid of it, and you're supposed to do it on Christmas Eve to find out if you have it and how to get rid of it. But you do have to do it on Christmas Eve, and that's what I was going to talk about. And we're going to talk about Christmas legends. But if you don't want to do the show, we don't have to do the show next Tuesday. But I thought it would be really cool that people can do this to
Yeah, do it.
themselves and family on Christmas
Let's
Eve.
do it then.
To take it off. I was going to actually show a demonstration. I was, via.
Then let's do it.
You want to do it?
Don't put the spot on.
Yeah.
Don't put the spot on me and John. We would be more than happy to do it.
I
We
remember.
don't have to do the whole 2 hours. We can just call it a night and do an hour show Tuesday. It's up to you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, that's good. I remember my father would always say, like, if you did something wrong, like instead of calling you an idiot, he would call you a Malouk. I don't know if that's
people. I don't. Maybe I'm pronouncing it. I'll find the right way to pronounce it. But a lot of times where, they wear the Italian horn or they use that one sign. I wear the evil eye
the
necklace.
horn.
I have the evil eye, the Jewish. But I guess it doesn't work. This doesn't work because according to it,
you're
I
not
had
Jewish.
it. Well, maybe that's why. But
Probably.
I'll tell you what I got. What what was seen, how to get rid of it. And talk about Christmas traditions, and some paranormal stuff that goes along with the. Was there really a red-nosed reindeer, or was there abominable, or, is there really a North Pole somewhere? Or where
You
did
know,
that?
Well, we know
you're
there's a
on my
North
show.
Pole.
But I will.
You know what I
Let me
mean?
do this. This is for my show next. I was talking about the mistletoe. Okay.
She saw your
The
note.
mistletoe. Yeah,
She saw your note.
The Celtic Druids, valued the mistletoe for its healing energies. A young
Is it
lady,
Oh, I didn't know
Mistle-
that.
a young lady
Mistletoe
caught
is
under
very
the
sharp,
mistletoe-
isn't it? Like, it's a pointy flower.
Depends on where you. Not going there.
Put
A
it.
young lady caught under the mistletoe could not refuse a kiss. If a
So if
girl
you're-
is not kissed, she will be single next Christmas.
Oh, that sucks. Well, I better
if
go
you're-
find me a mistletoe, huh?
So
Yeah,
if you're
you
an
better.
ugly guy should walk around with a mistletoe. Say, "Oop, gotcha." And- Jen, what are you going to change your page to?
Muffin.
There you
I wanna
go.
see
I'm
that.
gonna do it
I wanna
tonight.
see-
I'll do it tonight.
Yeah,
I
PA
wanna see
muffin.
that,
Just
PA
one
muffin.
F though. MUF.
MUFIN.
IN. Yeah, make it one F. Or you can make it MUFON, like MUFON, muffin.
Make
Because
it
that'll
like
be the slang, muffin.
Like
instead of
MUFON.
instead of a U, make it an O. Or
Oh
an
no,
I?
what am I saying? That would be MUFON.
Yeah. Should I do it M? Yeah.
No, it has to be IN, muffin.
Or I can do muffin.
MUFIN.
Or muffin. MOF.
Make it two Fs. MUFFIN, muffin.
Well,
Maybe
then
we'll do
again,
that.
someone could already have that as a trademark and she'd get
I
in
don't
trouble.
care.
MUFIN
you know what?
would be great.
You know that
But just
trademark
look it
stuff.
up on Facebook right now.
Are they really going to want to pay legal fees to try to take the page down? Do they really want to pay for legal fees?
I don't think
I
they
don't
have to
think
pay.
so.
They just have to send a letter to Facebook and make their case that they own it.
Well, yeah, they can
They
do
own it.
that. Then they can do it. So why do I care?
Just make it muffin. MUFIN. That'd be funny. PA muffin.
PA
That would be
muffin.
great.
Yeah, PA
And
muffin.
then John's conference will be the PA Muffin,
Conference.
PA Muffin conference.
Blueberry.
But for
and
my
chocolate muffin.
show comes on into the night at 10 o'clock tonight, and I'm still bringing up some, Christmas. Going to talk about the mistletoe, the Yule log, Yuletide, and all kinds of good stuff. So
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so next week we're gonna do it on the Christmas curse.
the Malouk.
Christmas curse.
I think we used to call it a Mamaluke is what it was.
I don't know. We'll get the right
Mamaluke or
pronunciation.
Mamaluke?
We'll get the right. I'll have some old Italian lady come on.
Yeah, my father used to say Mamaluke. That's what it was. It's been like a long time since I heard that.
But I didn't know you had to do it on Christmas Eve to get rid of it. At midnight. It technically is
Oh,
Christmas
wow.
Day. Yeah.
I'll be in bed.
No, you won't. I got to get ready for Santa Claus. Okay, we're going to end this show. We don't have, just grab some music. We don't have any music. Wait a minute. Let's get some music on it. Music. It was a good show, I thought. Well, we have to
It
get
was
some
a
guests.
good show.
New Year's, we're just slowing down. Okay.
Good
Well,
night.
we'll see you next week. Why isn't it playing? Oh my God.
Muffin, Sean, MUFIN. He typed it in. We did.
It's the muffin. It's the muffin doing it, huh? See you next week on Chasing Prophecy. You have a great night.
Good night,
everybody.
Muffin.
Muffin. I will do muffin.